Welcome to this explainer. When we think of poisons, our minds usually jump straight to like industrial chemicals, venomous snakes, or some dramatic crime scene. But the truth is, the fundamental principle of toxicology plays out every single day right in our own living spaces. Today, we're exploring the cabinet of curiosities hidden in your bathroom, your gym bag, and even the food poisoning risks lurking in your kitchen. Let's get right into it. So what do your daily multivitamin, your favorite essential oil, and a bodybuilder's gym bag really have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup to a weird joke, right? But the answer is actually a matter of life and death. We're going to discover how all three of these totally everyday things contain substances that can quickly turn from beneficial supplements into lethal toxins, literally just by crossing an invisible threshold. Section 1. The supplement shelf. Iron and vitamins. Okay, we usually think of vitamins as essential building blocks, right? We just kind of assume that if a little is good, well, a massive dose must be absolutely great. But human biology is incredibly delicate. People often think you just flush out extra vitamins, and hey, for water-soluble ones like vitamin C, that's mostly true. But fat-soluble vitamins, specifically vitamins A, D, E, and K, they play by completely different rules. Because they're lipid-soluble, they act like those unwanted houseguests that just refuse to leave. They bioaccumulate in your tissues and your liver. Over weeks or months of taking high doses, those stores can build up to massive, highly toxic levels. For example, let's look at vitamin D. It's incredibly popular right now for bone health. But taking massive, chronic doses of vitamin D, that can actually cause a condition called life-threatening hypercalcemia. Essentially, the extra vitamin forces your body to absorb way too much calcium, which can then precipitate right into your kidneys. We're talking severe renal failure, altered mental status, and serious cardiac dysrhythmias. Now, the timeline of iron toxicity is super deceptive, which is especially scary considering kids often mistake adult supplements for candy. The early gastrointestinal stage is pretty brutal, sure, but what's truly terrifying is the latent phase. Get this, from 6 to 24 hours post-ingestion, a patient's stomach pain might completely resolve. They look perfectly fine, but they're actually dying at a cellular level as the iron moves into the tissues, literally shutting down the cell's ability to make energy and pushing the body into severe shock. What's really fascinating here is how undigested iron pills actually look inside a child's stomach on an X-ray. Because iron is radiopaque, it lights up brilliantly on the scan. Seeing this pill burden is absolutely critical for toxicologists. It helps guide aggressive, life-saving interventions like whole bowel irrigation, where doctors literally flush the gastrointestinal tract with huge volumes of a special solution to physically push the remaining pills out before they can even be absorbed. When iron toxicity reaches critical levels, meaning the iron has totally overwhelmed the body's transport proteins and is freely attacking cells, doctors have to use a specific antidote called deferoxamine. It's an intravenous chelator. You can think of it kind of like a chemical claw that grabs onto the free iron so it can be safely eliminated right through the kidneys. And an unforgettable hallmark of this treatment, it often turns the patient's urine a startling reddish-brown color. Medical professionals classically describe it as vin rosé. Section 2. The apothecary, essential oils and herbal preparations. It's so easy to assume that natural automatically means safe. But nature is arguably the most prolific toxicologist on the planet. There's this profound irony in toxic wellness products. You can see exactly how innocent-sounding extracts can actually cause catastrophic organ damage. Take wintergreen oil, for instance. A tiny amount is highly concentrated salicylate, meaning literally just a few swallows can cause the equivalent of a massive aspirin overdose. Or clove oil. It contains eugenol, which in high concentrations causes acute hepatic necrosis. That is rapid liver death. Plus, it's absolutely vital to remember that essential oils are, well, they're essentially hydrocarbons. Because they're highly lipophilic, meaning fat-living, they easily cross the blood-brain barrier, causing rapid central nervous system depression and even seizures. And it gets worse. If a patient accidentally swallows an oil and then vomits, that highly volatile oil can be inhaled. It dissolves lung surfactant right upon contact, causing a severe, life-threatening condition called aspiration pneumonitis. The whole natural doesn't mean safe point is perfectly highlighted by pennyroyal oil. This minty, fresh-smelling oil contains a compound called pelargone. When metabolized by your liver, it rapidly depletes glutathione, which leads to severe cell destruction. But what's absolutely fascinating from a toxicological standpoint is that a natural remedy like pennyroyal destroys your liver using the exact same biochemical toxic pathway as a massive overdose of Tylenol. Crazy, right? In fact, toxicologists use the exact same antidote, N-acetylcysteine, to treat both.
Section 3. The gym bag, athletic enhancers, and dieting agents.
Now, if we investigate the extreme chemical lengths people go to for physical perfection, we find some pretty serious, deliberate manipulation of human biology. Athletes and bodybuilders sometimes use drugs like clenbuterol. Technically, it's an asthma medication, a beta agonist, but it gets abused as a nutrient partitioning agent. This xenobiotic, or foreign chemical, drastically alters the body's metabolism. It basically forces the body to decrease fat deposition while holding onto muscle protein. But this extreme metabolic hijacking comes at a huge cost, risking massive cardiac overstimulation, heart damage, and severe electrolyte shifts. And the extremes go much, much deeper. From fat blockers that physically inhibit nutrient absorption, to energy boosters like dinitrophenol that spike basal energy so high a person could literally cook from the inside out. Then you have anabolic steroids. Aside from the cardiovascular risks, oral steroids can cause something called Pelios hecatus, which is a horrifying condition where the liver becomes riddled with blood-filled cysts that can just spontaneously rupture. And in endurance sports, athletes use blood doping, even infusing synthetic perfluorocarbons just to carry extra oxygen. It really shows how athletic enhancers dangerously push human biology right past its breaking point.
Section 4. The medicine cabinet, anti-diabetics, and digoxin.
We often forget that ubiquitous prescription drugs hold massive toxicological power. Medications meant to stabilize, say, our grandmothers, can be incredibly lethal if misused. Take anti-diabetic medications, for instance. When a really common diabetes drug like metformin is taken in a massive overdose, it inhibits cellular processes and causes a profound buildup of lactic acid. It creates such severe metabolic chaos that it's actually the single most common toxicological indication for extracorporeal treatments, or ECTR. This means the poisoning is so profound, doctors have to hook the patient up to a hemodialysis machine to physically filter the drug and the acid right out of the bloodstream. Treating these specific medication overdoses requires incredibly precise steps. For instance, if a patient overdoses on a different class of antidiabetics called sulfonylureas, which basically force the pancreas to dump insulin, they need a specialized antidote called octreotide, just to switch the pancreas back off. Whether it's sourcing octreotide, hooking a patient up to a dialysis machine, or giving digoxin-specific antibody fragments for heart medication overdoses, emergency medicine is really operating on razor-thin margins of error here. Looking back at the stark breakdown of iron toxicity, the early signs, the systemic collapse, and those highly specific antidotes, it's a perfect representation of the fact that every single item we've discussed today has a strict, uncompromising threshold, a sharp line between everyday therapy and a life-threatening emergency. And that brings us to the ultimate foundational concept of toxicology, first proposed by Paracelsus centuries ago. The dose makes the poison. It's a powerful reminder that any substance, no matter how natural, how common, or even how vital it is to human life, can become a deadly weapon when the dosage is wrong. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. We fill our homes with vitamins to keep us strong, essential oils to soothe us, medicines to heal us, and kitchens full of ingredients to fuel us. But in the pursuit of perfect health, are you truly aware of the toxic potential sitting silently on your very own shelves? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious, but most importantly, stay safe out there.